The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So as far as this COVID-19 outbreak that's going on globally right now, it's still taking the world by storm. But over in the United States, though, the count has reached 188,000 coronavirus infections reported throughout the country, and over 4,000 deaths related to COVID-19. That SARS-CoV-2, that Rona. Trump is so at this podium. He's giving coronavirus updates pretty much every day. I think people really should stop listening to this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, I think he's showing himself to like be willing to lie and misstate and just and speak in complete ignorance without regard for holding any integrity or anything like that. So just off of that alone, I don't care if he ends up speaking truth from that here on out, people should stop listening to this man. But he did say that, you know, what I already been telling y'all, they feel like at the strictest measures of mitigating the virus, we could get to between 100 and 200,000 deaths. Otherwise, at worst, it could be 2.2 million people that have died from this shit suspected. We'll see what happens. Could be some fear-mongering, could be some real shit. Green War graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, over in New York, this is the epicenter of the U.S. COVID-19 coronavirus spread. In New York, they actually have reached a death toll that has climbed over 1,100 people. That's 1,100 people that are said to have died from coronavirus in New York City. In New York, pardon me, the state of New York. But in New York City, you have Samaritan's Purse, like a Christian fundamentalist group led by Franklin Graham, who's like anti-LGBTQ, Islamophobic and all of that, whatever. They actually have an emergency field hospital set up in Central Park in order to aid provide treatment to the spillover patients from Mount Sinai Hospital. Bill de Blasio, the mayor, has actually said he's going to send aides over there to make sure there's no discrimination going on. Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, actually sent over 250 ambulances and 85 refrigerated trucks to serve as temporary morgues over to New York. The Intercept is actually also reporting that they're paying $6 an hour to Rikers Island prisoners if they could dig mass graves in Hart Island. This is where in Rikers Island, we're talking about 167 prisoners that have actually gotten the Rona and 137 staffers. Green War and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Federal Reserve economists are actually predicting that unemployment can actually reach 32% by June. That's higher than the 25% that actually was taking place during the Great Depression. So thousands are expected to actually or have been actually calling for like the complete cancellation of rent. Yeah. So it's looking like a real dire situation, especially on the employment front. A lot of people don't have money and aren't able to pay the bills, but people that are renting out, they still got bills to pay. So it's looking like a real crazy situation. We'll see how this turns out. Green War and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Congressional Hispanic Caucus has actually joined thousands of medical professionals and immigration rights groups demanding that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they release all of their prisoners, because it's 37,000 asylum seekers packed in these overcrowded immigration jails, and 4 prisoners in ICE custody, and 5 ICE officials have actually been diagnosed with and tested positive for having coronavirus. Then there's like over in the South Louisiana ICE Processing Center in Louisiana, they're actually demanding, the women there demanding their release because they saw an Ecuadorian woman get carried out needing oxygen, had shown Rona-like symptoms. In Tacoma, Washington, you have the Northwest Detention Center, 80 people on hunger strike demanding their release. But at least in Cali, though, the place with like over 100,000, I think 122,000 prisoners or whatever, they are actually going to release 3,500 prisoners, non-violent prisoners or whatever. It'll be the largest release since this pandemic began. Green War and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Guam, you know, one of U.S. territories, right? But it's out there and it's considered, you know, way out there. It ain't even considered to be part of the U.S., but it is though. Nevertheless, you have the captain of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, Captain Brett Crozier. was actually pleading with U.S. Navy officials by writing a letter to the U.S. Navy specifically that basically was pleading them to release thousands of sailors after people have been on board testing positive for having coronavirus COVID-19. Basically saying that, like, yo, we're not at war. Like, sailors don't need to die over this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Basically pleading them, like, let's let everybody get off so we can prevent the spread of this shit. And then there's reports that there's sailors infected on the USS Ronald Reagan as well with coronavirus. So, Green War and Graduation. The Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you get you some paraphernalia, good gear like this, man. BlackFoxNews.com/shop. You can get shit like this in different colors, shapes, sizes. We got pants, shirts, hoodies, sneakers. You know what I'm saying? You can support the Stop the KKK campaign, or even my album campaign, Still I Grind, man. All at BlackFoxNews.com/shop. Find the link in the Black Fox News Instagram bio or in the video description for any YouTube videos by Black Fox News. Definitely the last few hundred, you'll see it. You know what I mean? Now check this out though. Governor of Florida, Republican dude Ron DeSantis, he on White Fox News talking about how he don't want people dumped in his country. In his state, pardon me. And this is because there's actually some cruise ships that are, like, a couple cruise ships that are actually, like, stricken out in the waters or whatever. You're talking about, 4 people have died on one of the ships. Dozens others are reporting, like, flu-like symptoms or whatever, and he's not having it. They can't come into the state. So that's what's going down. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Europe, in Italy specifically, in the last 24 hours, they had 837 people fall to COVID-19, coronavirus disease 2019, that Rona. You know what I mean? And that brings their death toll to over 12,000. So they actually had a moment of silence yesterday at noon for a minute. But shit, they're going to need a whole lot more than that, because it don't seem like it's suppressing over there, as I've previously reported. And also in Spain, they actually saw 849 people die in the last 24 hours. That's a new daily high death toll for them. And they have actually cracked over 100,000 coronavirus cases. So shit is real over there in Spain too. Over in Italy, they got so many people dying though that they're actually Germany has actually opened themselves up to actually receiving Italian patients in order to treat them for coronavirus. So shit is real. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Had to bring it indoors. But check this out though. So over in Greece, you had a asylum seeker actually test positive at this refugee camp, this crowded refugee camp that's actually like north of Athens. A thing that holds like 2,500 people, so that's looking like bad news right now. Over in Russia, you actually had a doctor that had been around Russian President Vladimir Putin last week, giving him a tour of some facility or whatever. He tested positive for COVID-19, that Rona. So as a result, Vladimir Putin is having all government meetings by video conference. And over in Brazil, you actually have field hospitals being formed and used at the huge soccer stadiums that they already had from, the World Cup some years ago or whatever. These are like some of the world's biggest soccer stadiums. Nevertheless, you still got people that are in high-rise apartments in Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro still banging on pots and pans, nightly protests calling for the resignation of Jair Bolsonaro, the president, who basically dismissed COVID-19 as like a little flu. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Had to bring it indoors or whatever. My head hangs loose, man. I know I'm trying to look crazy, but over in Africa, actually, over in Nigeria, the whole country actually went on a nationwide lockdown starting yesterday. It's home to 21 million people, and forced to stay in the house for what I would say is just only a few cases of coronavirus 2019, COVID-19 or whatever. Nevertheless, the residents there are more worried about starving than they are about the fucking disease. And over in Uganda, you actually had 3 Catholic priests that were arrested for holding mass on Sunday, going against the orders of bans against these large religious gatherings during the pandemic. And outside of the capital, Kampala, you actually had a police raid on the LGBTQ homeless shelter. 20 people were arrested, and allegedly beaten up and made to have this walk of shame through the village. They feel like they was targeted just because of their sexual orientation. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Over in Indonesia, authorities in Indonesia's second largest city, Surabaya, have actually sent out these drones that are actually like spraying disinfectants over the whole community. So people are feeling like they worried that they getting poisoned. Like the same way how over in the States, in the US, we be worried about these chemtrails and all of that, whatever. I mean, it might be drones on the way too, you know what I mean? But I'm letting everybody know this so we don't let that shit come over here, because health officials are even warning them over there that these sprays could cause irritation and respiratory issues. But nevertheless, they're spraying them over these crowds of people. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Vanity Fair is actually reporting that executives at White Fox News, because we Black Fox News over here and shit, but at White Fox News, they worry that they're actually going to face lawsuits regarding their coverage of this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, because they basically kept basically spinning the stories as if like this is just a hoax to get President Trump to hurt President Trump's re-election chances. And that just shows you how far they're willing to go to suck dick. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the flip side, other than media news, you got Chris Cuomo, CNN host, actually had tested positive for having that coronavirus, COVID-19. So then this is the younger brother of the New York governor, Chris Cuomo. So if I said it wrong, I meant Andrew Cuomo. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So an update, there was a federal judge in Texas that actually overturned what a federal judge had actually put a temporary hold on, which was the abortion ban that they tried to set in place, basically saying that abortions are non-essential during this global pandemic of the coronavirus disease outbreak. So in Texas, the abortion ban is going to resume during this situation because they've ruled it to be non-essential, which is clearly absurd. Like while I think it's kind of messy, and you would have to be really cautious about and be worried about the spread of that through an abortion transaction. Nevertheless, though, I mean, who wants to bring a baby into this world right now where how shit is? And then also, you are talking about something that is time sensitive. Like after a certain amount of time, you can't get an abortion. So how is that non-essential? It just doesn't make sense, and it's some fuck shit. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Trump and the Trump administration, they finalized these rollbacks of these fuel emission rules that were set during the Obama era, where it was designed to basically curb climate change, to curb pollution essentially. So under these new rules, U.S. vehicles will be allowed to emit 1 billion more tons of carbon dioxide per year than previously allowed, and it's equivalent to like a fifth of U.S.'s total carbon dioxide emissions. So more rollbacks, more environmental rollbacks by Trump and the Trump administration. I mean, y'all don't give a fuck about nothing going on with the environment? Like, is that what it's about? Green Wall and Graduation, I think they trying to set us up, right? The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. It looked like the U.S. is trying to pull a fast one on Venezuela. Yesterday, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo actually proposed lifting gradually U.S. sanctions imposed on Venezuela, and then suggested that they form essentially an interim government, basically a government, with the National Assembly combined with them to actually like get them through essentially this global pandemic and the economic stress that they have over there and the poverty and all of that, whatever, up until they can have real national elections, in which they hope, Pompeo said, they're hoping for within 6 to 12 months. This will require the current president, Nicolas Maduro, to step aside, and the president that the U.S. has acknowledged as President Juan Guaido to step aside as well, and them basically rule. Now, this is similar to a strategy that the U.S. Had actually was said to have used back in '89 before the invasion of Panama by the U.S. So it's the foreign ministry over there. They're like, this is an attempt by the U.S. to gain geopolitical advantage. So they don't really see it as genuine. And this is only a week since the Trump administration actually announced narco-terrorism and international cocaine trafficking charges against Maduro. So, man, hopefully niggas don't fall for the okie doke. Green War and graduation.
This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. But it is perhaps the end of the beginning.